Hi guys and welcome back to the channel here. Guys, I'm going to be seeing a video today. This is titled Why Did Russian Soldiers in Afghanistan Use AK-74 but the Spetnaz prefer old AKMs? Alright. Could it be that the old AKMs are more sufficient? They are more durable? I don't know. I'm curious, all right? So if you're curious as much as I am, please subscribe. And if you find this video interesting, like, share, and comment. Okay, so let's jump in.
The AK-74 rifle appeared in 1974, and 5 years later, the Soviet Union brought its troops to Afghanistan. It was in this war that it underwent its baptism of fire in the hands of Soviet soldiers and special forces. It would seem that, compared to the old AKM rifle, the new AK-74 was rid of a number of shortcomings and gained many advantages. Its grouping, effective firing distance, and accuracy have increased, while recoil, barrel bounce, and ammunition weight were significantly reduced. However, experienced officers of the Soviet Special Forces, instead of happily using the new rifles, began to take old AKMs from ordinary and poorly trained conscripts, giving them their AK-74s instead. Why did they do this? Turns out they had as many as 9 reasons for that. Let's take a look. So, in the mid-60s, the GRAU Armament Department commissioned the development of a new weapon. As a result, after 8 years, the A3 rifle appeared, which was later called the AK-74. In some of the Special Forces units, old AKMs were still in service, but in the others they were replaced by the new AK-74. In such situations, operators exchanged them by the conscripts, who didn't have their AKMs replaced yet. But what advantages did the old rifle have? Firstly, the 7.62 round travels more steadily than the 5.45 round. Such factors as wind, rain, or snow impact the trajectory of the 5.45 to a much greater extent than the 7.62. Secondly, the old 7, as it is referred to in Russia, has less ricochet. In addition, a heavy bullet fired from an AKM or RPK at extreme ranges loses much less energy than a 5.45. Yes, the effective range of the 7.62 by 39 cartridge is shorter. It is about 360 meters, compared to 420 meters of the 5.45. But at the same time, the 7.62 is better able to retain its lethality on a whole trajectory. It should also be realized that during the war in Afghanistan, there were many types of 7.62 by 39 cartridge, and the special forces could choose the right type for a particular task. While, for example, subsonic 5.45 cartridges for use with silencer appeared only in the middle of the war, and armor-piercing cartridges did not appear until the end of the war at all. The problem was the variety of not only ammunition, but also tactical kits. For the AKM rifle, there had been a PBS-1 silencer for a long time already, which proved itself in various operations. On the contrary, the AK-74 rifle had big problems with silencing. The low-pulse cartridge is harder to silence, and the silencer reduces its combat performance greatly. The Soviets never managed to create a decent silencer for the AK-74, and their PBS-2 and PBS-3 projects were a failure. Moreover, the AK in 7.62 caliber had a drum magazine that holds 75 rounds. Sometimes it was simply indispensable. The AK-74 rifles were equipped only with 30 and 45 round magazines. It is no secret that KGB and GRU special forces conducting their operations in Afghanistan often disguise themselves as mujahideen. In this case, the old AKs were simply necessary. The rearmament of the Soviet army worked in favor of the special forces because the Afghans believed that all Soviet soldiers now use only new AK-74s. The fact that it was not difficult to find a 7.62 by 39 cartridge in the Middle East, but 5.45 cartridges were very rare, if they were available at all, was also important. Chinese, Romanian, Egyptian, and other AKs for 7.62 were very numerous, meaning that Soviet Spetsnaz could take ammunition from a defeated enemy. And, of course, one of the main reasons for choosing 7.62 is its higher stopping power. Soldiers and special forces who were armed with AK-74s often noticed the lack of it. Inspired by special potions, the Mujahideen continued to advance even after being hit by several 5.45 bullets. while the 7.62 would simply annihilate everything in its path. Experienced fighters chose AKMs also because of good old habit. They have developed a sixth sense for how the bullet would behave in specific conditions and at a specific distance, and taking into account all the other advantages of the 7.62, there was no significant reason to train for a new weapon. That's why experienced officers of special forces favored AKM, and even low recoil, 37% less weight of cartridges, and higher accuracy of the new rifle were not enough to change their mind. That's all for today. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. See you next week.
Okay. All right. These are actually good reasons as to why this actually happened. All right. First off, the sound. You don't want your enemies to like know exactly where you are from just the sound, because sound is one major thing on how to detect an enemy around, all right, where there's a firefight. Okay, so sound is number one. All right, and also using your enemy's weapon is actually a plus, because the confusion is going to be like, okay, who's that? Is this one of us? Is this one of us? Like, they'll have to like pause a little and like calculate their next move, if the sound they heard is from them or their person, or it's just a sound coming from the enemy. All right, so share your thoughts and your opinions. All right, so from videos like this I get to learn one or two things. All right.